and welcome to Knockhill in Fife in Scotland for rounds 13, 14 and 15 of the MK1 Ma5da Championship. And we are getting ready for the 14th round of the championship, the 13th happening on the Saturday afternoon. And James Blake Baldwin goes alongside Tom Roach, who gets a good start in the green machine on the left of screen and pulls straight into the lead. We've got Rhys Jenkins in this one, Brian Chandler also, who won the round 12. Tom Roach also taking victory on the Saturday races, and they file their way through the first corner and down through this amazingly undulating and fantastic Knockhill circuit. Roach, Blake Baldwin, Rhys Jenkins, Ed Gay, the top four. And then in fifth position, Charlie Charman, the 42 machine, bouncing over the curbs. And there is Brian Chandler looking up the inside of Charman to try and make a move on him. Chandler it was who took the victory, as we said, on Saturday, along with Tom Roach, who extended his championship lead yet again. 3 rounds for the Ma5da MK1 series or drivers this weekend. Just 4 different groups as well. We normally see 5 or 6, and therefore you'll find that the championship front runners are racing each other. A lot of the time they're not even racing each other because they're in different groups, and therefore this is a hugely significant weekend for those wanting to win in the championship. Brian Chandler ahead of Charlie Charman, and down the inside through the first corner, the 97 machine of Carl Powell taking a position from Matt Robinson. Now setting his sights on Charlie Charman and Brian Chandler ahead. And of course that is for 4th position at the moment. 5th position. The front 4 already starting to get away just slightly. Charman chasing Chandler. Running a fraction wide through the Knockhill circuit. Very difficult to pick your braking zone around here, but Tom Roach already has a good advantage over James Blake Baldwin. Rhys Jenkins, who's had an up and down type of a season, crawling all over the back of James Blake Baldwin, desperate to find a way past. Blake Baldwin is one of those people in the top of the championship. He is someone who is desperate to get a good result. Over the start and finishing line they go. As you can see, it's undulating. It goes up and then plunges back down towards the first corner. We wait to see the next battle. Warning flag on the right-hand side for one of our runners, and we're waiting for a battle way down the field. That is Chris Lovett flying through the first corner with one of the XO consultancy cars just behind him. Blandini ahead of him. Lots of very well-respected teams amongst the Ma5da MK1 Championship. Up to 100 cars a weekend at some of the more popular venues. We're only down to just over 50 here in Knockhill. For many, a huge travel and trek up to fight around this circuit, but it is worth it. You've all seen the fantastic pictures from the British Touring Car Championship bouncing around the curbs around here. It is great fun to drive, and the drivers are really loving the experience. Of course, the barbecues in the evening, the beautiful countryside, and it does provide a big challenge for the drivers too. 88 Mark Litherland, boss of XO Consultancy and the main mover and shaker in that BS Motorsport team, run by Ben Short. There is Rhys Jenkins over the back of the circuit, still trying to find a way past James Blake Baldwin in the slipstream, but as yet hasn't managed to be brave under the brakes. Tom Roach then leading by a good 1.5 seconds over those two battling for 2nd position, and Roach having a bigger advantage than he would usually have at most of the circuits, because many of the circuits that the Ma5da Championship visit are slipstreaming circuits for these low-powered sports cars, and therefore he never ever has a chance to get away. But around here it is much more about driver skill. Yes, you do have this long straight, and there's one round the back as well, but Tom Roach showing his superior knowledge of the Knockhill circuit as well as skills. Brian Chandler on the back of Ed Gay as they go over the start and finishing line. Can he find a way through this first fast right kink? No. And Ed Gage is keeping the car on the curbs, losing the rear end just slightly, running a little bit wide. Brian Chandler's going to get a better exit, but there's going to be no room as they go up the hill, over the curbs. There's just not an overtaking position. Big old slide from Brian Chandler as he gets on the gas of the exit turn. The cars are fantastic fun to drive, and they really do slide about. Now we're in traffic. Tom Roach has lost a huge advantage from Blake Baldwin and Rhys Jenkins. He desperately tries to make his way past some of the slower cars. Stephen Cragg's there just getting in his way, although desperately trying not to get in his way, but Roach was definitely compromised by that. And what's that? That's not a checkered flag, that's a black flag for someone. Either way, Blake Baldwin now has his mirrors full, as he has done, of Rhys Jenkins throughout the race, but looking at the back of that green machine. Can Blake Baldwin take some points away from Tom Roach? Roach leading the championship favourite from the outset, really. Blake Baldwin, without drop scores, down in 5th spot. Took both victories at Brands Hatch last time out. Took a victory also at Castle Combe before then, and one at Cadwell Park. The start of his season wasn't so strong with a retirement at Snetterton, but he can drop that round, and he really is in the championship fight. Tom Roach having to go defensive as they go to the hairpin. Blake Baldwin looks to the inside, but just not enough room. There is a Blendini Motorsport car just ahead of Roach, who gets a little bit of a slide on the exit. Surely now a chance for James Blake Baldwin to attack as they go towards the start and finishing line. No checker flag as yet, and therefore Blake Baldwin still has a chance. But as soon as he opens the door, he's going to have Rhys Jenkins sliding his way through as well, going towards the first corner. Again, just not enough of a braking zone really to find a way through. But Tom Roach is going to have a squeaky bum moment as he tries to get past his teammate, who makes it easy for him, Matteo Cianfoni. And in fact, the man who lost out there was Blake Baldwin, who seemed just to put on his brakes a little bit more, and all of a sudden Rhys Jenkins is right on his tail, although he gets a bit of a slide on over the brow of the hill there and hasn't managed to carry that momentum through, because this is where you need to be right on the tail of the car in front, because then you can try and outbrake him into the hairpin. Here they go again, still more back markers. They are lapping cars up to about 15th or 16th position. Under brakes, swings the car in wide. Blake Baldwin not close enough this time, but Rhys Jenkins just lost a little bit too. And over the start and finishing line, still warning flags, no doubt for use of curbs. It's one of those things that they really don't like around the Knockhill circuit, but yet insist on putting flat curbs in that any driver will use to their advantage. A dab of brakes going down the hill for Blake Baldwin and for Tom Roach, just to settle the rear end of the car. Just about runs 2 wheels over the curb there. Takes the left curb but not the right, because you really want to get the car settled as you exit the turn. And Roach, now being a little bit more aggressive in the traffic, dives up the inside of yet another slower runner. And it's not something we generally see in Ma5da racing traffic, but in these 20-minute races around the circuit, which is only 1 minute in length, like this, the Knockhill circuit, and also Brands Hatch, it does come into play. Tom Roach doesn't defend. James Blake Baldwin follows him through. Fastest lap of the race to Roach, that's an extra point. And that looks to me like the last lap board over the start and finishing line. One chance then for James Blake Baldwin to find a way past the championship rival, the championship dominator, who actually did lose a little bit at the last 2 rounds. He's had a couple. At Brands Hatch, he had that. Well, he didn't win either race at Brands Hatch, Tom Roach. And he definitely is dropping a score in the second race after finishing only in 6th position. But you can drop, I think, 3. By dropping 3, he still got a perfect result of 100, 100, 100, 100. 1 point for fastest lap in most of the rounds too. And Tom Roach is pretty much unbeatable in this championship. 3 rounds here at Knockhill, 2 rounds at Rockingham, and 3 at Croft at the end of the season. So plenty to play for still. But James Blake Baldwin just not close enough. Very strong on the brakes and strong through the final turn, but I just don't think he's going to have enough. Is the checker flag coming out? No, that's the last lap board. We've got one more chance for James Blake Baldwin to have a go. Rhys Jenkins has dropped off the back of this Group 2. Ed Gay is still lying in having a great battle with with Brian Chandler, sorry. Ed Gay having a battle with Ed Gay. That would be an internal battle. Oh, and that's cost James Blake Baldwin running wide over the grass and gravel, and when he needed the momentum to get on the back of Tom Roach, he's thrown it all away. It's not enough to lose that second position, but he's not going to be close enough to even have a chance or even a nose or even a little look down the inside of the hairpin for the final time. Here they go. No real traffic in front of them to play a part, at least. Tom Roach has only once gone defensive going into the hairpin. This time decides against it. Throws the car in. James Blake Baldwin again really very strong on the brakes, but it's not going to be enough, and it's going to be yet another victory for Tom Roach. 2 out of 2 so far this weekend for Roach, ahead of Blake Baldwin and Rhys Jenkins in third position, a lonely third by the end of that race too. As you'd expect, Roach it is who takes the win. So confirmation then, Roach ahead of Blake Baldwin by just half a second, Jenkins third, Ed Gay finishing fourth, Brian Chandler, Charlie Sharman, Simon Goddard again locked in battle for sixth, with Blackwell Chambers, Matt Robinson and James Rogers rounding out the top 10. Let's now hear the thoughts of our winner, Tom Roach.
Good start again, good first couple of laps, and I thought, it would be okay, just get my head down, pretend it's qualifying. But yeah, then as we started lapping people, it's such a hard place to get past if you catch in the wrong place. And James and Rhys caught right back up, and it was a really busy end to the race.
Welcome back to Knockhill in Scotland for race 2 of the weekend from the Ma5da Mark 1 Championship, round 14. 13 already happened on the Saturday, and we've already had one race on the Sunday, won by Tom Roach. No Tom Roach in this one, and no Brian Chandler either. So a new winner, hopefully, well no, definitely, for the race. The 5-second board has been shown, the lights are slowly illuminating, and when they go out we will be racing here at Knockhill, and a pretty even start by the front two. It looks like it's Adam Gore who's going to have the advantage going into the first corner. Scott Leach in the middle of the pack, plenty of sorting out to do back there as they head towards this first turn. Everyone cleanly through and plunging down the hill, but yes, it is Gore who leads at the front. Plenty of attention further back. There is Ben Short, who's had not a very good start whatsoever, lying down in 5th position, but desperately trying to find a way past the number 11 car of Matthew Lambert. And Ben just already getting himself set up on the right-hand side of the circuit, given the inside line, in theory, going into this particular corner. Now, that is Alan Henderson trying to go round the outside at the hairpin. Martin Tolley finding himself in a pretty unusual position for him. A fantastic qualifying result, put him on the front row of the grid for this one. And now he's having to really hold off the attentions, and they go 3 wide. Henderson, Lambert and Ben Short on the very inside, and they've squeezed Lambert out of the way, so he's going to lose 2 positions. But can Ben Short go up the inside of Alan Henderson into the first turn? He's going to have the racing line, and now Matthew Lambert will try and follow him through, but just cannot make that one stick. And a really brave move around the outside from Henderson to hold on to at least one of those positions, and then cuts ahead. But they both run wide and over the gravel, and all of a sudden we're going to have Brett Smith in the mix as well. Not a good qualifying from Brett Smith, the 39 car, that blue car there. And although some of the results don't show it, Brett Smith is very much a championship front runner, a little bit inconsistent with that. His father racing in the British Touring Cars, Jeff Smith, teammate to Andrew Jordan in the PureTech team, and in fact will be making an appearance in the Mark 1 Championship later on this year at Croft, I think. Scott Leach going defensive further back, that very familiar blue car with the yellow nose. He's defending from Eduardo Rodriguez Rodriguez is another of those guys who we are used to seeing up the front. So a bit of a topsy-turvy grid for this one. And they're all wanting desperately to take a full maximum points. Henderson lying right up there in the championship, and he will desperately want to take a couple of, the 101, whilst his championship rival, Tom Roach, isn't racing in this particular race. He'll meet him. Actually, he's already met him, I think. We're looking at the 32 car of Alexander Preston. Again, another extremely fast peddler inside the top 10 of the championship, but at the moment, not in a position he wants to be in. Brands Hatch wasn't kind to Preston either, although he has taken victory at Cadwell Park earlier on in the year. Further ahead, the battle of the seconds still raging on between Ben Short and Alan Henderson. Henderson looks to the inside as Tolley has to go defensive from Matthew Lambert. And this is really proving that it was a fantastic qualifying session from Tolley, but he can't really hold on to the position at the moment. He can fight as much as he likes, and indeed it's creating a fantastic race for second position, but all of it is allowing Adam Gore just to disappear into the distance. Ben Short, another man right in the mix for the championship. Again, didn't have a great opening to the season at Silverstone, but as the year has gone on, he's got more and more wins, 100-point maximums, and that's slowly pulling him up towards the front of the field. However, at the moment it's not enough. They need Tom Roach to have another bad race and at least carry one of his 99s over into the championship. So you score points for every race that you race in, 100 points for the win, but of course you are allowed to drop 3 scores. So a lot of drivers will not come here to Knockhill because they're travelling, and then they'll drop all those 3 scores and it won't affect their championship. It's a very fair way of doing things, but it does create some slight confusion to those who are really fighting for the victory, and plenty of excitement going on further back. Scott Leach, as we see the back end of those cars, Scott Leach trying to find a way through, and some seriously hard defending going on from Martin Tolley still as he falls further down into the clutches of Brett Smith and Leach. Now, what can Brett Smith do? Because unfortunately he does have Scott Leach and Eduardo Rodriguez right behind him, and Alexander Preston, who actually loses a position to another of those blue cars with the white line down the end of, down the middle of it. I'm not entirely sure if might be Gary Holford. Rodriguez trying to find a way past Scott Leach, but there's really not that much room at all. The camera goes a bit crazy with excitement as Eduardo Rodriguez sticks his nose up the inside but hasn't found a way past, and it has compromised his speed because he's absolutely been eaten up by the field now. Preston's going to go up the inside of him, although he turns in and makes it difficult for him. Side by side then, over the start and finishing line they will go, and it'll be, hopefully, if Preston's got that momentum, he'll have the inside line for the first corner, but it's a little bit risky because actually Rodriguez's car with the sort of Marlboro colours seems to have a lot of speed down the straight, and Preston hasn't got an answer for him and actually has to defend from Daniel Rogers, putting Rogers to the outside line there. Rodriguez running wide. Doesn't seem to punish you too much because you fly uphill there. This particular camera angle showing no gradient whatsoever, but it's a massive hill as they go up almost like a cliff there. And you need the momentum out of the corner. Richie Puddle not having the weekend that he would have wanted. Some absolutely fantastic results earlier on in the season in the southern races at Castle Combe and at Brands Hatch, but having travelled all the way up to Knockhill, it's not going quite so well for Richie, who actually practices instructing at Silverstone, so he's behind the wheel of a car, or at least in a car, for most of his week. Plenty of these guys are businessmen. Very few are racing drivers, and a few make their money in the Ma5da series. Tom Roach, for instance, an integral part of the Belindi team, and makes his money from running others. There is Ben Short, owner of BS Motorsport, again a man who makes his living in the Mark 1 Championship, and also proves that his team is good the EXO consultancy cars run fast because he's running at the front of the field, but as yet hasn't found a way past Alan Henderson, and Matthew Lambert is now right behind him. Although this, remember, is a battle for second position because up ahead of them, Adam Gore has disappeared. Through the hairpin, one of them missing a gear by the sounds of things, a bit of a crunch. And then over the start and finishing line they go. Plenty of warning flags still being thrown by the marshals. Not sure if many are actually taking any notice of them. Gore throws his buymeagift.com car through the first corner. And that section of turns very, very hard to get absolutely spot on. This slightly easier once you know where you're going, but the first few laps around here when you don't know what is going up that hill, it's a little bit scary. Gore now with the same problem that Tom Roach found in the first race of the day. What to do with the traffic. Luckily though for Adam Gore, he hasn't got the guys directly behind him as yet, and therefore will be able to bide his time just a little bit. But even if you just get caught out in traffic going down that hill in the first section of turns, as he makes an easy pass there, that will lose him the 2-second advantage that he has over the rivals at the moment. Again, someone either missing a gear or their tyres are rubbing against the wheel arches as they go through that hairpin. Doesn't sound particularly pretty anyway. Absolutely spot on from Adam Gore going through the first section of turns. Beautiful racing lines, and he's got that absolutely spot on. Perfect. And not even needing to touch the brakes to settle the car. Gore loving this Knockhill circuit. Passing another of the BS Motorsport cars as Alan Henderson gets the come past me gesture from Neil Revington. And it was Matthew Short just ahead of Neil Revington in the BS Motorsport car. And now following Adam Gore through. Now Matthew Short, relation to Ben Short, will he be able to cause a little bit of an upset? No, he won't, because there's a checker flag. Adam Gore is going to take victory ahead of Alan Henderson. And in the end, a little further back was Ben Short. The top four really spreading out at the end there. Challenge of the Knockhill circuit, benefiting those who are extremely proficient in the art of Ma5da Mark 1 racing. There is Gore's confirmation of victory ahead of Henderson. Ben Short 3.5 back at the end. Matthew Lambert nearly 10 back. Brett Smith beating Alexander Preston. Tolley falling down to 7th.
With a cushion like that, it's a lot easier. You can time passes, time your approach on back markers, and it really does make a world of difference.
Welcome back to Knockhill in Scotland for race 3 of the weekend for the Mark 1 Ma5da Racing Championship. And we have James Blake Baldwin on pole position alongside Martin Tolley, who we've just seen race. He started there earlier on in the day and fell well back. Behind him, though, we have Ed Gay as well. We've got Brian Chandler in this one, Brett Smith, Alan Henderson on row 2. So who is it going to be to take the victory? None of which on this grid have taken victory today. Brian Chandler taking victory in race 1 of the weekend on the Saturday. 5-second board. Watch the lights on the right-hand side as they illuminate, and once they go 5 and then off, we will be racing. Who's going to get the best start? Off they go, and it's a pretty even start between Tolley and Blake Baldwin. Alan Henderson tries to slot into 3rd position and hog the inside line going towards the first turn. Down the hill they go. The cameramen have moved positions, which was putting me off slightly. And the 46 car of Simon Goddard trying to go around the outside of Daniel Rogers there, as Martin Tolley already losing positions, going side by side through the hill. That's not a place where you want to do that. And they both end up gravel trapping Alan Henderson and Tolley. Tolley just about keeping it in the straight line. No, he doesn't. Oh, and a big accident. That was a nasty clip there for the 26 car of Paul Yeomans. So unlucky to be involved, but Tolley really should have got his foot off that accelerator. hugely dangerous and lucky not to cause a much larger accident. Now, doesn't look like the car's that badly damaged. It's bodywork, but he really shouldn't have kept his foot quite so hard in, as Chris Lovett also going for a little bit of a wild ride. So, after lunch, the boys have got a little bit their elbows out, and we're going to see some frenetic racing by the looks of things. At the front of the field, though, Brian Chandler. There's Brett Smith with Carl Powell behind him. Powell sadly retiring from his first race of the weekend. Ed Gay having a strong run of things so far, and his hand going up in the air. Now, why is that? We've got safety car out? No, don't know what that's for. Either way, everyone looks like they're slowing down, but there's a huge amount of gravel on the circuit there. And yes, there must be a safety car out, although no one's actually bothering to show us. Powell also having a little bit of a wave, unless we've just come to the last lap of the race and everyone's celebrating. Beautiful countryside, the Knockhill track. Look at the views of the background, the mountains, and then the land around Fife. Good crowds here too. So, Blake Baldwin, Chandler, Ed Gay, then Simon Goddard is 4th position, and finally they pick up the safety car. And I'm expecting that's because they just need to clear all that gravel off the exit of the that chicane there, where Tolley went off, and he was so sideways he's managed to kick all the gravel and dust onto the track rather than off it. Henderson's fallen well back, trying to spot the grey car. Whereabouts is he? Oh, he's right at the back of the train, so Henderson's got some work to do. And sadly, we did lose Paul Yeomans and Martin Tolley. So, from a great qualifying, Tolley has had some pretty hard races to deal with. Retiring out of this one and falling down to 7th in the last one. And they've decided they're going to recover Paul Yeomans' car before we go racing once more. Not much space for the Mazdas to try and squeeze past there at the recovery truck. Just enough space for the safety car to get through, but the back of the train almost stopping. Now, it seems the concern is actually with the gravel rather than with the car off. I think it was in that dangerous a position. By the way, Daniel Rogers going through shot there. The marshals get to work with their sweeping, and once everything is happy and ready to go back racing again, Blake Baldwin will lead them through. There is Martin Tolley's ruined machine, and he's going to get a tow back to the pits as well. Doesn't look like too much structural damage. The bodywork's in a pretty big mess, but actually the wheels, I think, are pointing the main direction. So a little bit of tape down to the local scrappy to pick up a new front bodywork, and he'll be good as gold when we go racing again the next round of the championship, which is Rockingham in the middle of August. Right, safety car is gone into the pits then, and Blake Baldwin leads the charge with Brian Chandler just behind. Now, Chandler won the race on Saturday, so he knows how to get the best out of his car. Here we go towards the start and finishing line. The yellow flags are still flying, and only when they get to the top of this hill will they be allowed to overtake. Green flags then, there it is, and we're going racing again. Not a particularly exciting start from Blake Baldwin. He's not got away from Chandler or Gay or Goddard behind him. Carl Powell looking to try and find a way past Brett Smith just ahead of him. And Smith is at the moment putting Simon Goddard under just a little bit of pressure. Goddard normally we see fighting with Charlie Charman, but Charman not racing in this particular race, and therefore their friendship on circuit is slightly stunted for the moment. Anyway, towards the hairpin they go. Now, windscreen wipers on now. Surely, is it raining slightly? We've already had a big safety car period. The clouds have come over. We saw them forming in the hills in the background earlier on during the day, and now we've got a problem with rain. That is going to be a huge issue. If so, the cars are on road tyres, so they won't need to change tyres. But yes, look at that on one of our cameras, rain spots. So they're going to have to be really careful now about just how much grip the circuit is offering. As I say, they're on a normal Como road tyre, so the road tyres should perform pretty well, but when the drivers are used to the limit of adhesion in dry conditions, they'll have to rein it back quite a bit in wet conditions. Otherwise, you do that massive slide from Carl Powell in the 62 machine following Gary Hufford. Gathers it all together, but a beautiful bit of opposite lock as they fell down the hill. Alan Henderson just behind. Now Henderson's a real charger, and after that mistake up here on the first lap, he'll look to try and get past those two, occupying 11th and 12th positions at the moment. Baldwin it is, who is still leading. Brian Chandler just taking a slightly tighter line through the final hairpin, dipping a wheel over the curb, then a bit of a gap to Ed Gay, the man who works for FOM, the broadcaster of Formula One. He's actually going defensive as Simon Goddard tries to find a way through, but then switches back to the racing line. Now remember, in these sort of conditions, when you've had a little bit of rain, racing lines are generally pretty slippery. So it'll be interesting just to see. Obviously they're the fastest line to take in dry conditions, but as soon as just a little bit of rain goes on them, then they get extremely difficult to drive on. Either way, Ed Gay still sitting on the racing line and seemingly having a good time of it, cocking a wheel as he goes over the curbs there. Down towards the hairpin. Windscreen wipers on aplenty. Here comes Simon Goddard looking up the inside of the hairpin. Has he got enough under braking? Not quite got the overlap, and Ed Gay strong and confident to turn in and make sure he doesn't get a clout from behind. But they are going to have to push on because Brett Smith is right behind them in 5th position, and he's a man who has not had good qualifying and therefore is having to do a lot of work through these races to move himself back up in the order. At the limit of adhesion, you could see the car moving around Blake Baldwin as he tries to get away from Brian Chandler. Now Chandler is one of those guys who on a good day is one of the fastest men out there, really hard to beat, but has had difficulties, has had engine reliability issues, been caught up in a few problems, and therefore doesn't feature in the championship so much. Down towards the hairpin they go. Blake Baldwin just didn't look quite as confident as you would have expected. He is a person right in the championship hunt, although Tom Roach is some 13 points ahead, I think. So needs every single point that he can get. The checkered flag is out though, and he's going to take a maximum 100 here. Blake Baldwin then wins. Brian Chandler in second, and Ed Gay gets another podium. A great little scrap though for 4th. Oh, and I think, well, results will confirm, but Goddard, I think, just sat ahead there of Brett Smith with Preston just behind. And a tricky race to win that one. So congratulations to James Blake Baldwin on yet another victory. Here is the results then, and Blake Baldwin beating Chandler by 0.8 of a second. Ed Gay 3rd, Goddard beating Smith, and then Carl Powell, of course it was, in 6th, with Chambers, Rogers and Puddle. Alan Henderson getting into the top 10 by the end of the race. Due to the rain, our cameraman seemed to have taken shelter, so no interview from Blake Baldwin. We'll see you after the break for the final race of the Mark 1 weekend. Welcome back to Knockhill for the final race of the weekend. Tom Roach lining up alongside Adam Gore, both race winners here at Knockhill so far. Tom's got 2 to his name. Rhys Jenkins and Matthew Lambert on row 2. And Ben Short languishing in row 3, desperate to try and get a good result. Jenkins, Short, Gore, all championship chargers trying to chase down Tom Roach. Let's see who gets the best start, and not a good start at all from Adam Gore, but a nice one from Tom Roach puts him into the lead of the race, already going towards the first turn. Jenkins is going to have the inside line in third position, in fact trying to challenge Adam Gore as they head round and down the first turn. There's Matthew Robinson with Scott Leach just behind him, and ahead of those two, Ben Short and Charlie Charman in the 42 machine. Charman with Short all over the back of him, over the curbs they go, bouncing over the curbs, runs a little bit wide, Ben Short, as they try to keep the momentum to the maximum, and then we've got contact further back. We've got a car in the gravel trap. That, I think, was Stephen Craggs. Side by side as well. This is the final race of the weekend, so plenty of shoulders out, argy-bargy. They can do all their repair work in the next couple of months before the Rockingham round, so we'll see some serious action all the way through the field. Now, that looks like a yellow flag flying to me, and maybe we're going under safety car conditions here. Yes, there it is. Stephen Craggs' car abandoned at the top of the hill in the gravel trap. Not a good safe place whatsoever. So Adam Gore taking a victory, but none of the other championship challengers other than Blake Baldwin, the last race, have actually taken a win. Tom Roach already taken two, in the lead to take the third. Of course, Chandler taking a race win on the Saturday, and then the other race wins going to people who have done less of the championship. So in terms of the championship, and we are getting to the back end of it, this is round 15 now, I suppose. This, 2 races at Rockingham and 3 races at Croft, will finish the championship for 2012. Tom Roach carrying, of course, the number 1 plate on his car, and that is because he was the victor last year. Teammate to this man that we're being shown, the 21 car. And that's David Needell, who is going very slowly because the safety car just seems to be very slow indeed. They got the Landy out to try and remove Stephen Krabs' car. So Blake Baldwin really is the man totally in charge. Now, in theory, Adam Gore should be able to get that second place if he can get to the front of the field in this particular race. But at the moment, second position. And the Marshals doing their very worst at taking a long time to get those cars out. The safety car disappears into the distance. We're going to go racing once more here at Knockhill. Bit of defensive work from Tom Roach as he tries to get the hammer down now, going into the hairpin. No overtaking until they get to the start and finishing line, remember. But Roach trying to get a little bit of a jump on Adam Gore, and I think he might have done. The green flag flies at the start finishing line at the brow of this hill, and off we go racing once again. Matthew Lambert going defensive on Charlie Charman into the first turn, having to take a slightly tighter line, and that will compromise his speed down the hill. Ben Short just having a little look. It's a good place to overtake down there, but Lambert just about keeping the car on the island. Not seen anything of his father this weekend. Richard generally races alongside his son, but maybe Richard isn't here this weekend. As you say, a slightly smaller group of cars, and they've managed to file their way past Matthew Lambert. Ooh, and they both run far too wide though. Ben Short almost losing the rear end, definitely losing the drive. And meanwhile, Rhys Jenkins trying to go around the outside of Adam Gore, going into the hairpin. Is that going to work? Surely not. Not this time anyway, but Gore's already having to fend as they go along the start and finishing straight. And actually Rhys Jenkins being put onto the grass. Luckily there's a little bit of a cut through there, but he's found a way. He's found an inside line. And they go side by side, and it's going to be advantage Rhys Jenkins as they go into the braking zone at the first turn. Turns his way through, the circuit disappears from underneath you. And now Gore tries to go up the inside yet once again. There is an overlap, but he's keeping it very, very tight. And not enough space. They both run wide. Charlie Charman's ready to pounce just behind him. Over the brow hill, just losing the rear end just slightly. Charman now going to the outside because Adam Gore's protected the inside line. No way past there. Takes far too much curb and has to correct the car, but actually doesn't dip a wheel into the gravel as much as Ben Short does behind. Matthew Lambert's right there. All of this fantastic battling is taking everyone's eye off the ball, which is Tom Roach. And then yet another 100 points. 3 wide going into the hairpin. Charman trying to go round the outside of Gore, and it's been a dreadful couple of laps from Adam Gore, losing second 1 lap ago, and now he's going to lose 4th position, or drop to 4th position as well. Matthew Lambert just behind. We've got a bit more rain falling. Jenkins to 2nd. Gore holding on to 3rd, and Charlie Charman 4th, and then Matthew Lambert. Where's Ben Short gone? Ben Short's even further back. Oh! Now that's not Tom Roach. I don't think that's Tom Roach. I think that is another Belindi car. And that may well be a back marker of David Adele. For a moment, my heart sank then. But Tom Roach is far too far up the road, really. So, still battle for 2nd position. Rhys Jenkins goes to the inside line. Adam Gore looking to try and find a way through. Charlie Charman deciding to take the racing line, the outside line. Really no point because he's not going to go around the outside. And in fact has a little bit of a challenge from Adam Gore, and then Gore gets through. Side by side. Now Gore's got the inside on Rhys Jenkins. Matthew Lambert's still there. Ben Short losing time as it continues to rain and cause problems. Side by side over the start and finishing line. Gore has the overlap. Gore has the inside. And he's going to snatch that 2nd place back. This is what Ma5da Racing is all about. What fantastic action around this Knockhill circuit. Oh, just outbraking himself just a fraction there, Rhys Jenkins. Now they go up to the top of the hill. Grab the curb on the left. Miss the curb on the right. Let the car run over the curbs on the exit. Ben Short, a big old tank slapping oversteer there at the moment in the background. Same applies here. Take as much curb as you dare. Don't dip your wheel into the gravel because you need all the momentum you can get to come down into this hairpin. Gore protecting the very inside line. Jenkins, there's no way through. Charlie Charman goes to the outside, but Lambert's going to dive up the inside. He's going to take 2 positions. What a move from Matthew Lambert. But on the switchback move, I think, yes, Charlie Charman's got him up to 3rd position. Charman sits in the slipstream now of Adam Gore, who obviously does not have the speed yet again. Got the racecraft, but the car is not performing to his liking. And it's not the straight line, it's not the corners where he's struggling, it's the straight lines. Charlie Charman takes to the racing line down the bottom of the hill. Any move though, and as you've seen with Rhys Jenkins, you're going to lose 2 or 3 positions. Nice and settled over the brows of the hills here, keeping the car in a straight line as Jenkins dives down the inside of Matthew Lambert to take 1, but then dips a wheel over the white painted curbs, and they are a little bit slippery. And now we've got action because we've got a back marker in the way as well. Gore holding on to that defensive inside line, but this time it opens the door just a little bit. Jenkins and Lambert go side by side. Now Jenkins goes to the inside of Charlie Charman, pushes him onto the gravel. They go 3 wide over the start and finishing line. Jenkins is going to try and push Matthew Lambert onto the grass. Is there any space there whatsoever? Has Lambert backed out of it? Yes, he has, just about. Gore needs to get his lights on. Does a bit of flashing because he's going to get compromised by this back marker around here. That is for sure. It's the worst place to catch the back marker, and indeed still hasn't found a way through. Now they go down the inside of him. 3, and all 4 of them get past pretty quickly. Jenkins tries to go and overlap with Charlie Charman, but just no way to overtake through there. We saw Alan Henderson in the race before making a mistake trying to go side by side through there with Martin Tolley. It just doesn't work. Now, this time, Gore doesn't need to defend. I think he could probably stay on the racing line. Could be a last gasp attempt from Rhys Jenkins, but no, all settled. Now they just need to concentrate on the exit, get a good run out of the turn. And this is where Gore has been really struggling. And already, look, he goes to the defensive inside line because he knows that he's not got the speed of the other cars. He's fine through the turns. He's got the skills. the car is not performing to his liking. Jenkins pulls out of the slipstream to take the racing line, but Gore is still having to go defensive. Now Jenkins looks to the inside of Charlie Charman. No way through there, but maybe at the bottom of the hill if he's brave on the brakes. He can't be that brave, just not enough space. The gap shrinking like a block of cheese. Jenkins got that car working really well over the curbs. Oh, a mistake though from Adam Gore, and now down the inside goes Charlie Charman. They go 3 wide. Oh, and Jenkins is going to go into the gravel. Oh, that's race over for Jenkins, and he was only just trying to make up a little bit of ground. He's stuck in the gravel. Frustration. What a race we were having. Gore's dropped down to 5th spot. Matthew Lambert diving up the inside for 2nd position on Charlie Charman. Ben Short has now got ahead of Adam Gore as well. And that is the last lap board. Unbelievable stuff so late in the race, and only because Adam Gore made a small error at the top of the hill. Gore tried to go around the outside and got tipped into a spin and just could not hang on to it. There, though, is your leader of the race. Tom Roach heading towards the hairpin for the final time. It's been a pretty quiet and very easy race as Rhys Jenkins still sits in his stranded Mazda. Look at that. He could be on a country drive back down south. It's been a dominating weekend once more from Tom Roach, just to cement himself at the top of the table. And this was a weekend where his rivals really needed to score good points, but Tom Roach has responded. The checkered flag flies for him, our championship victor in 2011, our championship leader in 2012, and triple winner here at Knockhill. Over the line, that amazing battle for 2nd position. Such entertainment. Confirmation of the result. Charman getting a really good result in 2nd ahead of Lambert. Ben Short picking up 4th with Gore in 5th by the end. He'll be disappointed with that. Also a disappointing weekend for Preston in 7th. Rodriguez in 9th, and James Rogers rounds out the top 10. Join us again in a couple of weeks' time from Rockingham, where the full team will be back to bring you the culmination of this Mark 1 championship.